In the headlines, gunmen kill resident, abduct one, hijack car in Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Court strikes out suit against former governor of Jigawa State. Senate adjourns sitting till November for budget defense. Away from Nigeria, Iraqi parliament elects Abdulatif Rashid as new president. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I am Ayuba Ila. Thank you for joining. And now the details. At least one person was shot dead by gunmen suspected to be armed robbers at about 8:45 p.m. on Wednesday at Ghana Street in the Maitama area of the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja, while another was abducted. Some residents who spoke to our correspondent on condition of anonymity said that the victim was killed while trying to rescue a man that was being forced into a black Prado SUV by the gunmen. The source noted that the SUV was parked at Ghana Street, where the victim was shot in the head by one of the gunmen, leading to instant death. It, however, gathered that the suspect escaped with a victim while the body of the deceased was still on the street during the night. Confirming the incident on Thursday, the FCT police spokesperson Josephine Ade claimed that the police was investigating the incident while denying the allegation of abandonment. Terrorists were said to have killed 2 people and abducted 18 during an attack on Gatakawa village in Kankara local government area of Katsina State on Thursday. The terrorists were also said to have rustled some domestic animals in the process. However, sources close to the security operatives in Kankara told Trust TV's Abdullahi Ahmadi in Katsina that the 18 kidnapped victims have been rescued unhurt. Similarly, 5 operational motorcycles and 2 cows were also recovered from the terrorists, who reportedly abandoned them and escaped with gunshot wounds following gun battle with the police. Residents of nearby villages said many of the terrorists were neutralized during their encounter with the police. The newly posted commandant of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps NSCDC in Zamfara State, Muhammad Muazu, has assured that the command under his watch will work to bring an end to the menace of banditry through the gathering of credible intelligence, which is one of the keys to tackling the prevailing insecurity in the state. He gave the assurance during the handing and taking over ceremony at the NSCDC State Command in Gusau, the Zamfara State capital. The report.
The newly posted Zamfara NSCDC Commandant's Command, Muhammad Muazu, had served in 12 different formations of the Corps in the country with 17 years of experience in intelligence. He has taken over from outgoing Zamfara State Commandant Akushi Sparks, who served the state for over a year. Muazu charged officers and men of Corps to seek credible intelligence, which is critical in addressing the prevailing activities of bandits and their collaborators in Zamfara State.
I'm here in the state, like I said earlier, to contribute my best. My best will be determined by what is currently going on or what is being required of me by the state or by the Commandant General.
The outgoing Commandant Akushi Sparks, while thanking officers and men of the command for the support and cooperation accorded him during the period he served, urged them to give the same to the incoming commandant to succeed in protecting critical national assets and flushing out suspected criminals in the state. He also appreciated the synergy the command had enjoined with other sister agencies like the Nigerian Army, Department of State Services, DSS, the police, and the Nigerian Air Force, among others in the state.
Secondly, I want to say a very big thank you to all the division officers who in one way or the other have been working tirelessly to give us all the detailed report of region to furnish the state government on how to hamper this criminality and banditry in the state and also the other service chiefs.
The NSCDC's new commandant, who warned that he will not condone nor tolerate corruption from any of the personnel, advised those who may have such tendencies to desist forthwith or face the consequences if caught.
A federal high court sitting in Dutse, Jigawa State on Thursday struck out a 8.6 billion naira corruption case leveled against the former governor of Jigawa State, Saminu Turaki, by the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC. The trial judge, Hassan Diko, struck out the case and discharged the defendant for lack of diligent prosecution by the EFCC. Turaki governed Jigawa State between 1999 and 2007. The prosecution counsel, the EFCC, was absent during Thursday's sitting, prompting defense counsel to plead with the court to strike out the case against the first defendant, arguing that the day's sitting was the sixth adjournment since the case was brought before the court and there was no cogent reason given to the court by the prosecutor for non-appearance. The defense counsel pleaded with the court to strike out the charge. Justice Diko struck out the case and discharged the first defendant, Mr. Turaki. He also ordered the EFCC to release travel documents of the defendant. Former chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Attahiru Jega, says the electoral umpire is properly positioned to deliver credible elections next year. This, he says, is because of the Electoral Act 2022, which has empowered the Commission to use technology in the conduct of the elections. He hoped that the conduct of some politicians in the run-up to the elections will not impact negatively on the elections, as they had shown that they were not mature enough. Reacting to speculations that there were moves to remove the INEC chairman, Mahmoud Yakubu, Professor Jega said that he regarded them as rumors.
The rumor needs to be investigated. So maybe the Nigerian security agencies need to investigate these rumors. If those who are peddling it, are doing it without fact or basis, they should be arrested and penalized. On the other hand, if the rumors are correct, then something needs to be done. But I can tell you, even if there are people who are trying to remove the chairman, or to affect the elections by getting the beavers truncated, it is all dependent on how resolute INEC is. INEC recognized that using beavers is going to add value to the elections. They persuaded government, resources were given and committed. They have acquired the beavers. It is too late for anybody to come now and say put it aside.
Meanwhile, Rescue Nigeria movement have called on the presidential candidates not to be partisan and carry everyone along for the benefit of Nigerians. This was stated in a press conference by Oluwadare Faduri, leader of Rescue Nigeria movement, on his presidential aspiration under Labour Party at NUJ Center in Abuja. He spoke. The spokesperson of the movement, Rufai Al-Sadiq, further explained that the call became imperative as the country needs patriotic, fair and trustworthy leaders.
Unfortunately, he was restricted from participating in the presidential primary election after purchasing the form with a fabricated kangaroo consensus of Mr. Peter Obi as forced by the party leadership on our principal, His Excellency Oluwadare Faduri Joseph. We never knew that the chairman, Chief Julius Abure, in cohorts with some NEC members of the party, had sold his slot to the present candidate, Mr. Peter Obi, who brought in money to the party to hijack the party just 4 days to the primary election. The sales of presidential form that had been closed was reopened for Peter Obi without the professionalism under a kangaroo arrangement. The earlier arrangement was to hold the primaries in Abuja, but we were shocked to learn that the convention will now hold in Asaba. Oluwadare Joseph was forced to step down for Peter Obi under duress. The proof that will be released to the public when time comes. As a result of the aforementioned, we consider it necessary and timely to let the public, the Nigerian people, know the kind of personality and people they are dealing with, and to equally exercise to seek legal redress over gross injustice done to us by the same people who want to take over the affairs of the nation. This is important so that we don't fall from frying pan to fire. This is coming more than 5 months after the Asaba Convention. Up till now, Labour Party refuses to reach out to His Excellency Oluwadare Fadili Joseph, now compensate him of the over 500 million naira he spent on intent to nomination forms.
Staying with political matters, ahead of the 2023 election, northern groups under the aegis of Arewa Joint Committee says it will not make the mistake of the past and support the emergence of leaders with no vision or plan for the development of northern region. The ground made the comment at the press briefing in Kaduna. Ahead of its planned engagement with presidential candidates of political parties, the committee said it aims to assess candidates in order to ascertain leaders that have the capacity to address security and other socio-economic challenges confronting the country. The report.
Ahead of its planned engagement with presidential candidates of political parties, the committee said its aim is to assess candidates in order to ascertain leaders that have the capacity to address security and other socio-economic challenges confronting the country.
Given the state of the North, particularly in terms of its security, economy, and infrastructure, preparation of its young to become responsible and productive adults, its relationship with the rest of Nigeria, the critical need for good, effective, and inspirational leadership, and possible changes in the structures and systems of governance to make them more effective, our need to exercise vigilance over who assumes responsibility over our security and progress.
The committee also said there is need for a change in structures and system of governance in Nigeria, which requires vigilance over those who will assume responsibility of leadership in the country.
These engagements have become necessary to avoid mistakes of the past, when leaders emerge with no popular inputs into their plans and programs and with virtually no efforts to interrogate their capacities and vision if they become leaders.
These 6 groups have people from all parts of the North. And the fact that, as you heard in the speech, the fact that we're even collaborating is a tremendous evidence that the North is united. And we want to do everything together.
The Joint Committee comprised 6 notable northern groups, including the Northern Elders Forum, Arewa Consultative Forum, Sir Ahmadu Bello Memorial Foundation, Jam'iyyar Matan Arewa, and Arewa House, among others. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Lawmakers on Wednesday debated on the 2023 appropriation budget earlier submitted by President Muhammadu Buhari. The Senate has equally adjourned till November 15th to enable committees concentrate on budget defense sessions with the ministries, departments and agencies. The Senate and House of Representatives on Wednesday passed for second reading the 2023 budget, which was presented to the National Assembly last Friday by President Muhammadu Buhari. The report.
The Senate and the House of Representatives on Wednesday passed for second reading the 2023 budget, which was presented to the National Assembly last Friday by President Muhammadu Buhari. The bill focused on issues from the Consolidated Revenue Funds, statutory transfers, among others, for the year ending on the 31st day of 2023.
Mr. President, in a budget of about 2021, let me even round it up to 20.5 trillion, that will have a huge deficit of slightly more than half. We should find a way to reduce our expenditures.
We are supposed to be having borrowings of 8.8 trillion naira. But, we have a 1.77 trillion naira previously approved budget that we haven't drawn down. So, of course, that is not part of our debt stock of 50 trillion.
Let me, at this point, advise the MDS, the honor ministers and head of agencies of government, that the window we have for budget defense is the only window available for budget defense. And therefore, when agencies receive letters inviting them to come for budget defense, they must come for budget defense. And when they come, we expect they will come with all the necessary information that will help our committees.
The upper chamber suspended sitting after concluding debate on the appropriation bill. President of the Senate, Hamid Lawal, in his remarks moments before the chamber adjourned, tasked committees to thoroughly scrutinize budget estimates and the 2023 appropriation bill, in line with the fiscal responsibility principles.
Plenary from today is suspension of plenary, not recess. Those of us who are reporting should report it correctly. And the purpose is to ensure that our committees in the National Assembly focus exclusively on budget defense.
The Committee on Appropriation, chaired by Senator Jibril Barra, is given 4 weeks to report back to the upper chamber.
The Anambra State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Journalists, NUJ, has called on the organized labor and the civil society groups to form effective partnerships with media practitioners for nation building. Speaking at the NUJ Labor and Civil Society Summit in Awka, the state chairman of the council, Emeka Odogu, urged the unions to see journalists as partners in progress, especially as the 2023 general elections draws near. According to him, if the civil society, labor and the NUJ work closely, it will no doubt benefit society and the government.
Why should you not let the world know what we are passing through or what we are achieving? So we are here gathered. We in NUJ decided to champion this cause for a partnership.
No government is a lover of workers. If left for government alone, nobody will know what is happening. They will continue to project their ideas. Problem we have is that the present government does not want the public to know the true position because of insincerity. The problem of us is the problem of all of us. If you don't have a child in the university, you have rather hard.
With media and labor, you can always sell because information is power. And we are in a global world now. They get us to be integrated. We will integrate very well. And at any point in time, our activities will be known to the public. And from those places, you can as well know what the people want.
You're watching the news update on Trust Television. Coming up shortly, we'll take a look at stigmatization that come with mental health. Details of this and more after the break.
Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back. This is the news update on Trust Television. Here's a reminder of our top stories again. Gunmen kill resident, abduct one, hijack car in Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Plus, court strikes out suit against former governor of Jigawa State. In other news, a total of 2,187 confirmed cases of cholera, including 233 deaths, have been recorded in 31 states from January to September 25 in Nigeria. This is according to the public health advisory published by the Nigeria Center for Disease Control and Prevention on its website on Thursday. The advisory, titled Stop Cholera, Strengthening Water Sanitation and Hygiene in Nigeria, noted that the outbreak of cholera has been exacerbated by limited access to clean water and sanitation facilities, open defecation and poor hygiene practices. The center, while noting that the risk of cholera transmission is higher in areas that lack adequate sanitation facilities and a regular supply of clean water, added that unsafe practices such as improper disposal of refuse and open defecation endanger the safety of water used for drinking and personal use, leading to the spread of waterborne diseases such as cholera. The NCDC, however, urged Nigerians to keep their environments clean, drink or use water that is boiled and stored safely, ensure food is cooked and stored in a clean and safe environment, avoid open defecation, and wash their hands regularly with soap and running water. Now we move on to other stories. The House of Representatives investigating NNPC Limited joint venture from 1990 to 2022 has discovered serious infractions by Shell, which has been claiming capital allowance from the government without CAFA certification from inception. Though Shell pleaded for leniency from the committee, it, however, still demands details of Shell's fixed assets at the next sitting. All right, now a bus, moving on to the foreign scene now, a bus carrying nearly 50 people displaced by the catastrophic floods in Pakistan has caught fire, killing at least 18 of them, including 8 children and 9 women. The passengers were all members of an extended family who were forced to shift to Karachi after the floods submerged their homes in Dadu district of Sindh province. The incident took place on Wednesday night on the Karachi-Hyderabad highway near the industrial town of Nooriabad, situated nearly 185 kilometers from Karachi. And in sports news, the ball used by Diego Maradona to score 2 of the most famous goals in football history is to go on auction. The match ball used in the famous 1986 World Cup quarterfinal between England and Argentina carries an estimated price of £2.5 million to £3 million. It is being sold by Ali bin Nasser, the Tunisian referee who allowed Maradona's hand of God goal during the game. The ball was used for the full 90 minutes of the match, which remains one of the most defining and controversial contests in World Cup history. And still in sports news, Claressa Shields promised to school Savannah Marshall in their undisputed middleweight championship fight on Saturday night in London. American Shields and WBO champion Marshall are longtime rivals, having fought 10 years ago in the amateurs and came face-to-face in a Fiery News conference on Thursday. Shields and Marshall, both undefeated in 12 fights, have known each other for the best part of a decade, having met at the 2012 World Championships. Savannah's win over Shields on that occasion remains the only defeat the WBA, IBF and WBC champion has suffered as a fighter. And that's a wrap on Trust News Update. You can watch more via all our social media platforms, and also remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel. I am Ayuba Ile. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.